Clemson's defense got pushed around last year. That all ends now with Tom Allen. We're going to talk about it right now on Locked On Clemson.
You are Locked On Clemson, your daily podcast on the Clemson Tigers. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
What's up, Tiger fans? Morgan Thomas here, Clemson fan, Clemson grad, host and producer of Locked On Clemson, part-time host and producer over on 105.5 and 97.5 FM The Roar. Thank you so much for making Locked On Clemson your first listen every day. We're part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day. And if you're new to the show, make sure you hit that like and subscribe button and notification bell so you never miss an episode. And don't forget to follow me in between episodes over on X for more Clemson content all day long at the Morgan T Show. You see it down there. Go follow me. Today's episode is brought to you by the all-new 2025 Nissan Armada. Stay with us for the Armada Team of the Week later on in the episode. Coming up on today's show, we're going to talk about Clemson's defense, their new identity, much to say about Tom Allen, the young offensive lineman, pushing for a starting role. Can they possibly get one? You know, it's kind of hard for an offensive lineman to get an opportunity early, but we'll talk about it. And players you should not sleep on this spring. You probably aren't, but I'm going to make sure that you aren't for sure. Clemson's defense, let me tell you, is really getting a new identity very quickly. And I think it's the best thing that Dabo Swinney has done for this program, for the defense, and for the next couple of years for Clemson football. Clemson didn't just need to make a change. They really needed to, I hate to say this, but they needed to hit the reset button. And honestly, that's exactly what Dabo Swinney did by changing over to Tom Allen from Wes Goodwin. I know what you're saying. We all thought it was going to be a bad idea. We all said Wes Goodwin was unproven. He was the Eric Spoelstra is what I said, because he was the guy from the video room that nobody knew about. And he's supposed to be this Rain Man genius. And while Wes Goodwin has a lot of talent and he may still be able to make a name for himself in college football, he didn't live up to the expectations that we have at Clemson and for Clemson football and for Clemson defense. Now, Dabo said that Tom Allen is bringing an energy that is infectious and is changing the culture of the team. And I think that's exactly what you need for this defense, because we know that it really wasn't up to Clemson's standard. Now, Dabo came out and talked with the media this week, and he said that the defense, that side of the ball and the coaching over there has been, quote, really loud over there. And he said, it's no joke, but it's a sign that the practices feel very, very different. And I think it's much needed, because you go from Wes Goodwin, and that was one of the things we were worried about going into this whole experiment with Wes Goodwin, is that was he really capable of leading grown men who were going to go to battle, as quiet as he was, as soft-spoken as he was, as inexperienced in front of the camera, in front of the media as he was? Was this guy really going to be able to not only lead men and be able to call plays in a very stressful environment, a high expectation role? And also, was he going to be able to go into people's living rooms and mamas and daddies and aunts and uncles and grandmas and grandpas, kiss babies and eat dinner and travel in recruiting? Maybe that's gotten a little bit better now because of the way they've changed the structure of the coaching staff at Clemson. But now it's too late, because Wes Goodwin doesn't have that opportunity. I think that Clemson needed to make a change. They needed to bring in more energy, and that's exactly what they did. Tom Allen brings a sense of urgency to this team. The defense kind of got stuck in a rut. They were complacent. They lost a lot of the fundamentals, a lot of the footwork and the tackling and the wrapping up and just the hitting the angles properly. That's not what we saw in the past. That's not what we have known from Clemson's defense. And it was really, as you probably will agree, unacceptable for Clemson's defense to do that. They lacked what I would say is an edge on the defensive side of the ball. Now enter in Tom Allen. He walks in and he's being what I would say probably, chaotic. He's being very loud. He's being very in your face. He's bringing a new feeling to practice and to the defense. And I think it's what the defense needs for sure. Another good thing is that, he knows how to coach grown men. I mean, this guy has led an Indiana team to one of the best defenses in the country. He's been one of the named as a coach of the year in the past. He's been the defensive coordinator at another elite program and had success there. He's not here to learn on the job. And a lot of people say, Morgan, preach it. I understand that, because a lot of you said you mentioned to me many times, you called in on the radio and you said, this Clemson has a standard. Clemson has met and is part of one of the elite teams in college football. They do not need to be a team that is a learn on the job team. And that's kind of what it felt like with what Dabo Swinney decided to do. Now, he made his bed and he has to deal with that. He's having to kind of revert back from what we originally thought his plan was to develop from within and now bring in guys proven. But I think that's a good thing for Clemson, because these guys are head coaches in their own right. Not only are they capable of being head coaches, but heck, they have actually been head coaches. So Matt Luke was number one, and then now Tom Allen. These guys come in and they know what they're doing, and they don't have to be taught anything. Now, Clemson's defense was, for lack of a better word, marshmallow soft compared to the standards that we were used to. 85th in rushing yards allowed. Unacceptable. I mean, how many games did you watch, critical moments where they couldn't get off the field, where they allowed a huge chunk play in a running game, and it's just uncharacteristic of what you've grown up with in a Clemson era or a Dabo Swinney era defense. 85th in rushing yards allowed, 69th in total defense. Bad defense, good number, but 69th, not good. That's not where Clemson wants to be. 64th in yards per play, not where Clemson wants to be at all. And there were the comparisons that I think you're never going to be Brent Venables, and Tom Allen is never going to be Brent Venables. And I don't want him to be Brent Venables, really. I mean, Brent Venables was not perfect. He had things that frustrated you a lot of times as well. Sometimes it seemed like his rotations of players weren't always the best. It also seemed like he would go and hone in too much on blitzing and be a little bit too aggressive in that case and leave open an offensive line that could hold the first line of attack, could dump off to a running back or a tight end and just chew Brent Venables' defenses up. So it's not that he is perfect, but he held a standard and he got to a point where it was feared. I don't think this past season, the past couple of seasons, a Clemson defense has really been feared by the opponent. Now, not saying they haven't been a tough out, because they've definitely been a difficult out, and Clemson's still winning a lot of games, don't get me wrong. But the fear of playing the defense, the intimidation, the expectation that you're not going to be able to move the ball easily kind of started to dwindle, and Clemson can't let that happen. Dabo Swinney knows it. You and I both know it. And he's doing the right things, I think we all agree, by getting in people that not only know how to coach grown men, have been there, have done that, have done it and at a high level in other places, but hiring someone who challenges him himself. Like I said, Allen is a head coach. Matt Luke is a head coach. That kind of stuff matters, because those guys, they come in and they have expectations, they have standards, they have leadership qualities that, the guys that you have to teach and babysit, they don't have. And so you lose a little bit of edge yourself. He doesn't need a yes man. He doesn't need an assistant to just kind of, agree with everything. Dabo needs some people to be around him to kind of push him to be the best reflection or part of himself as well, and keep pushing him to the next level and keep moving forward. He needs someone sometimes to maybe push back, maybe be a little bit more innovative and say, hey, you know what, Dabo, I don't really like this idea. I think that this is what our personnel needs. I think this is what we need at this time. And maybe, just maybe, a guy like Tom Allen can do that. And the cool thing is about this season coming up is that LSU starts the season. Everything's going to be put to the test. they're going to have to go up against one of those powerful SEC teams. And man, if the unit can stay healthy, they are going to be an exciting unit to be had. And I'm telling you, Tom Allen has done a great job so far. We're hearing all good things. We're seeing good things at practice. He is going to really get the best out of everybody on the defensive side of the ball. So I'm loving it. I can't wait to hear more from practice. I think these guys are going to make it to the next level, and I look forward to, man, spot the ball and get us to September, because I'm already ready. Basketball is over with now, but not really technically, but because we got the transfer portal in the offseason, but I'm ready for some football, that's for sure. And I love hearing about the path that Clemson's defense is going on. Let me know what you think over in the comments on YouTube, or if you're listening to podcasts, go follow me over on X at The Morgan T Show, and you can chat with me in between episodes. I love it when you get in and talk with me about Clemson football, for sure. All right, coming up next, we're going to talk about these young offensive linemen that look like the future is here now. The Armada Team of the Week is brought to you by our friends over at Nissan and the all-new 2025 Nissan Armada. Each week, our Locked On College Basketball experts are picking one team that can stand apart. From top-seeded stars to unexpected upsets, these guys showcase the strength and sheer power needed to push their team forward. This week's Armada clear-cut Team of the Week is the Arkansas Razorbacks. Despite losing their first 5 SEC games, Coach Cal's Hogs fought their way through the most rugged conference in college basketball to not only make the NCAA tournament, but now they've knocked off back-to-back national champion and Hall of Fame coaches en route to the Sweet 16. They accomplished all of this without their second leading scorer in Boogie Flan for most of SEC play, and without leading scorer and rebounder Adu Thero so far in the NCAA tournament. Now, when it comes to Nissan Armada, they say go forth and conquer. That's exactly what the Arkansas Razorbacks have done here. It's clear that our Team of the Week is out here ready to conquer the road ahead with confidence, just like you can in the all-new Nissan Armada or any of Nissan's outstanding vehicles. Take the Nissan Armada, Rogue, or Pathfinder and go find your next big adventure. Shop NissanUSA.com. The best thing to me that has happened to Clemson's offensive line, maybe not just Matt Luke, maybe it's that some of these guys that are definitely going to start in the fall are not as healthy right now. I know this sounds kind of crazy that I'm saying this, but maybe the best thing is that there's a lot of starters that are out right now, because it's allowing these young offensive linemen that are hungry and ready to show what they can do and physically are absolutely imposing when you see them in person. But maybe, just maybe, these guys are ready to take it to the next level and could possibly really show or even push for a starting role. I know I said it. I'm pretty excited about it. It's hard for me to say it out loud, but I'm telling you, some of these guys in the past recruiting class have been doing really well so far in spring. Mason Wade and Ronan O'Connell, two guys that you're seeing, they're not just here, they're redshirt freshmen. They're not just here to keep developing. They want to show and compete and show what they can do right now. They're not just a couple of random guys that they got recruited in there at the last second for the sake of adding depth or adding reps. They're holding their own right now with the ones, and they're pushing the veterans along. And that's what championship teams do. Not just having a great coach in your group, in your offense and in your head coach, but also having younger players come in and not just take up a roster spot. Come in and say, hey, you know what, big guys, older guys, you think you got this position locked down, but I'm here to show you that I am going to compete. And that's what we're hearing from O'Connell. That's what we're hearing from Mason Wade. It is really exciting. These guys aren't here to just wait around. I'm not sure if they'll get their opportunity, but it would be good. We always hear in the preseason, man, Clemson, Dabo always loves to come out. What does he say about the offensive line? Oh, we got, 10, 15 guys that can rotate. And you're like, ooh, wow, 10, 15 guys. I can't believe it. That's basically the whole offensive line. They all can rotate in. And then when the season happens, they're playing like 7. They're playing like maybe 8, maybe. But maybe this is the time where it's a little bit different. Hey, you've got Walker Park still, right? You got Ryan Linthicum. You got Tristan Lee. You got Blake Miller. That's 4 right there. You're probably going to get Colin Sadler or Harris Sewell or Elijah Thurman in there. You're going to definitely get some Ian Reed action as well. Maybe even some... maybe even someone like Ronan O'Connell or Mason Wade can be in the rotation as well. Those guys are next men up. I'm not saying that we want to continue or have any injuries throughout the season, but it feels good to feel like that you have options other than just placeholders that are there to take some reps and to get the guys who are actually going to start some water. So I feel like Clemson has maybe just one of the better top to bottom offensive lines that they have had in a couple of years. Can they get back to an all ACC level offensive line? Time will tell on that. But Matt Luke is running this group, and I know you're going to hate this when I say it, but Matt Luke is running this group like an SEC unit. His fingerprints are all over this. He's a former SEC coach. He is not slowing down because these guys need to catch up. He is aggressive. He's getting these guys in there. He's physical. He has installed the offense, the blocking schemes that he wants, and he's looking to these young guys to kind of step up and show what they can do, because you have guys out there like Tristan Lee, who has been dealing with injury. He's been recovering from some medical things, and so he's out there actually on one of those like scooters, right, with his leg propped up. So he's out right now, but that gives these other guys opportunities to kind of rotate in and really give them a chance that they may not have had in otherwise. So Braden Jacobs is also in there. I'm hearing Easton Ware. I'm hearing, a lot of other guys like Rowan Byrne in the mix as well. So, even these brand new young guys. Now, I really don't feel too strongly about true freshmen getting, any kind of true like immediate starting, unless you just had some sort of gap or unless they were freaking just absolute monsters. But I can see the redshirt freshmen. I can definitely see the sophomores getting in there and getting a rotation, and your juniors. There was a gap, right? We got graduate Walker Parks. You got all your seniors are going to play. And then you got your juniors are definitely going to be in rotation. Your sophomores, to me, got to be in rotation. And then now we're talking about the freshmen are going to possibly push for opportunities in the rotation. That's 12 guys right there. So this roster could actually be what they hype it up for in the preseason. And I'm here for it. I'm buying into it. And you might tell me, man, you're ridiculous. I might be burned again. But eventually the good luck and the success at offensive line has got to come back to Clemson's way. They've got to get guys top to bottom. The years where they were championship level team were the years they had the best offensive line in the ACC. Can they get back to that? It sounds like the returns right now are good, and you got to trust Matt Luke and what he can do. Garrett Riley has even come out and said that, quote, the young guys are getting 1 million reps. Now, I know it's not 1 million, but he also mentioned that they're hungry, they're gritty, they're ready to get in the rotation. They're not hesitant to get in there and set their own tone, set their own bar. And that tells me that these younger guys are pushing these other guys and showing, hey, you can't just slack up. You got to show me what you can do, because I'm coming for your spot if it's there. Now, the unit possibly maybe not as deep as we're seeing right now, but I'm still feel like I'm going to trust it. Even if these guys don't start, it could bring huge depth to the offensive line that really, I mean, how many years back has this offensive line had legit depth? It's been quite some while since I've seen that. So, that you're going to have your you're going to have your guys coming back that were starters from last season. And I think that's one reason why this offensive line may just have the best year possible, or in the past couple of years, because of those returning guys and because of that continuity, not only with the running backs that are back there, but also with Cade Klubnik and being able to just be on the same page. It seemed like younger Cade and the offensive line sometimes weren't on the same page, and they would run into each other, or they just wouldn't feel what each other were doing. And now I do feel like that Cade settled in a little bit more in his pocket. I think the guys around him kind of know what he wants to do, what his tendencies are to do when there's stress or pressure from one side or to another. So Matt Luke, to me, has gotten, again, all of his fingerprints all over this, and it's doing Clemson a great improvement here. Can they become a good rushing team again, or is it just going to be a heavy pass blocking team? To me, I feel like as I always say, when a player shows you what they are, believe them. This offensive line seems to be more of a lean towards a passing offensive line. So, and plus with the big question marks around the running back room, I just don't know if I can say for sure that we can trust that they would be a massive improvement on the running game. But I do feel like that you got to be pretty confident that Cade can be truly Air Cade coming into 2025 or going into 2025. Again, let me know what you think over in the comments. Go follow me over on X at the Morgan T Show. And in between episodes, we can chat. You can message me there. I'd love to talk all things Clemson as well. All right, we're going to wrap up the show here with some discussion on some of the silent stars of the spring. Well, they're not going to be silent anymore because I'm going to call them out, and the coaches have called them out. So we'll talk about it. One that you're definitely familiar with. Two, because we've been talking about them really almost every week, but two guys that I think that you might be a little bit surprised by or maybe even encouraged by how much better they're doing or how they've been doing in the spring so far. Get the supplies you need from the site made for the skilled trades. Supply House. Whether you are in plumbing, HVAC, or electrical work, Supply House is the reliable way to order products online. Their easy-to-use website is packed with helpful resources and the latest product info to help you get the job done right. Plus, with a complete inventory of over 200,000 parts from 400-plus brands, you'll find exactly what you need delivered fast from coast to coast. Need help with an order? Supply House offers expert support and industry-leading service, so you'll always talk to a real person. And for trade pros looking for an extra edge, their free TradeMaster program offers exclusive perks and dedicated phone line, free shipping, and discounts on every order. Thousands of skilled professionals are already taking advantage. Now it's your turn. Join the TradeMaster program today at supplyhouse.com/TM and start ordering plumbing, HVAC, and electrical supplies with just a few clicks. Plus, use promo code SH5 for 5% off your first order. That's supplyhouse.com.
The NCAA tournament is here, and so is the bracket breakdown.
Locked On Podcast Network and Amazon Fire TV channels are teaming up to deliver NCAA tournament coverage like never before. Watch studio shows featuring former players and Locked On's local experts as they guide you through every upset, buzzer beater, and bracket matchup.
Stream it all for free on Amazon Fire TV channel. Search Bracket Breakdown to see it all for free.
It's your team every day.
Now, some of the casual fans probably haven't heard much about these players. Maybe they've forgotten about them. They don't really follow them. You know, the ones that have just kind of got on the bandwagon recently, but not you, not me. You're not going to be surprised by these names that have been talked about at spring practice so far. So it's not going to be a huge shock to you. However, I'm telling you that they will be a household name in Clemson because these guys could spark a new identity and not just maybe help themselves, but help other people around them. Now, the first on the list so far that's been doing so well in practice, we're not going to talk about, how shocking this one is because you probably already know the name. Gideon Davidson is absolutely a beast. He looks like he has been built in a lab. He is a true freshman that just looks like he is absolutely ready to go. He is a gym rat. I mean, he's got muscles on top of muscles. And what we're hearing from the early returns is he is everything as advertised and could step into the role immediately. Now, what we're also hearing is that we're seeing on social media is that a lot of these other running backs are saying, hey, not so fast. Everybody's talking about Gideon Davidson, and rightly so. He's got the vision, he's got the balance, he's got the speed, and most importantly, he kind of feels like he is ready. He already is there. He's got kind of a presence about him. He's got an aura, really. There's a lot of hype around Gideon Davidson, and rightly so. I think that he has put in the work leading up to college to be able to kind of earn a little bit of some respect initially. Now, he has to go out and prove it on the football field, that's for sure. But early returns are showing he looks like he's a great running back, an excellent runner, will be a day one contributor for this offense, not just because they need a running back, but because he is that talented for sure. Now, I say all this and drool all over Gideon Davidson to also take a moment and say that there are other running backs on the roster that feel like that they're being overlooked. And I don't want to overlook them, especially in the spring, because I feel like everyone, this is their opportunity, right? Everyone has an equal opportunity to get forward and get more reps. David Eziomume is kind of saying, hey, he's going to continue to stay patient, and this year coming up could shock a lot of people out there. Now, he has a lot of speed behind him. I'd like to see what he can do. I don't think that Clemson needs to rely on just one running back. They can be able to be a running back by committee and get these guys in positions where they need to be. Now, what they did last season was not that, and I don't think that was a good way of doing it, because what you saw is Phil Maffa kind of got wore down by the end of the season. Don't do that again, Clemson. Don't do that again, CJ Spiller, Dabo Swinney. What we want to see is a rotation. Now, maybe, just maybe, you start out with Adam Randall because he's a senior. He's a guy that you trust. He's a wide receiver converted to running back, and he seems to have a little bit of spark about him, a little bit of swagger about him. I just, as I said that word, I hated saying that, but he definitely has something where he looks like he has something to prove, and I think that he does. He is one of those guys that's just very talented. All Clemson Nation wants to see him have a successful season. It's just, he's the guy that has to go out on the field and do it. And then when you look behind him, Keith Adams Jr., obviously a guy, hammerhead, he's kind of built a name for himself, but doesn't get a lot of reps. So I'd like to see more opportunity for him. And Jarvis Green as well. On the radio before he was recruited, I stumped for him publicly, and I said, CJ need to go out and get him. Finally, he did, and he was an immediate take for Clemson, and not only for Clemson, but for Jarvis Green. Clemson was an immediate take for him. So he wanted to be a Tiger for sure. So when it comes to the running back room, while we can drool all over Gideon Davidson, and he is definitely worth it, and worthy of that kind of, expectation, there's other guys in there that are saying, hey, not so fast, don't overlook me. And I respect that. But it kind of goes back to what we talked about with the offensive line. These younger guys are coming in and they're saying, you know what? We know Clemson has this expectation. We know Clemson has this, history under Dabo Swinney of having elite level success, national championship level success. We want to get back to that. And not only that, we want to get back to that level on our backs, right? And so the offensive linemen are saying, hey, we know we're young, we know we're redshirt freshmen, but we want our time. Well, the running backs are coming in too and say, hey, you know what? We want our time as well, but they've got to prove it, not just on Monday through Friday, but on Saturday as well. A lot of time to go. Stay healthy. Keep getting your reps in for both offensive line and running back. I think it's going to be really good. Two other guys that I want to talk about as well. Tristan Smith. He seems to be developing as a deep threat. Some people are saying they make you feel like a younger version of T. Higgins. Watch out. Watch out. He has great body control. He's 6'5". He's kind of a basketball player, but that's what you want, right? You want your 50-50 jump ball. You can't miss him. Super tall, and he has this catch radius that is out of your mind. So even when the quarterback is not perfect, he's going to bring it down. And how many times have we been able to say that in the past couple of years, man? It's almost like these guys can't get open. And even if they're not open, the quarterback can't trust them to win a 50-50 ball. And that's not what Clemson has been built on to get to the national championship. It was stopping the run, having a great line of scrimmage on the defense, like we mentioned earlier, but it was also having wide receivers that were going to say, you know what, I'm going up against the best cornerbacks and safeties and nickels in the country, and I'm going to win these balls. And I think that Clemson has the guys now to be able to do that. You got Tristan Smith that you brought in. You got TJ Moore. You got Bryant Wesco. You got Tyler Brown. You have Cole Turner and Antonio Williams. These guys, they want the ball. They're not going to be okay with a 50-50 ball. They want to figure out any way they can to make it a 70-30 ball. And I like that about them. They got to have that scrappiness about them. And Clemson now has made a great addition to the wide receiver group because of this transfer portal addition. So it's been great to hear what Tristan Smith has been able to do because he's hungry, y'all. He is absolutely hungry to prove what he can do and to get and earn his playing time. You don't have to be young or a true freshman or redshirt freshman to be hungry. These guys are definitely showing what they can do. And Clemson's future is looking great. Maybe we don't have to just wait around and see. Maybe, just maybe, we'll get to see these guys day one, game one against LSU, and Clemson could be on a path to wreck not only just the ACC, but the out-of-conference SEC games that they have, and then hopefully get themselves into the postseason and into the college football playoffs. Hey, I appreciate it. Thank you so much for making Locked On Clemson your first listen today. For your second listen, check out Locked On College Basketball with Isaac Shade and Andy Patton. March is here, so be the most informed college basketball fan throughout the madness. Find Locked On College Basketball on YouTube or wherever you listen to podcasts. Don't forget to follow me over on X in between episodes at The Morgan T Show. And that's it for tonight. And as always, Tiger fans, we'll see you at the top of the hill.